once it starts up, yeah, it's not good, right? This is either the start of a fresh video or halfway through a video about the 3-channel TT. We're in a new unit. This is months and months later. The first half of the video, front half of the video can't be found, Bryn, can it? So you're just gonna have to explain what you did in the first half of the video. You'll have already seen, and forgive me if I'm repeating myself, that I did the front coils, front shocks, rear coils, but not the rear shocks because we had the wrong ones. And then lots has gone on. Car's just been getting in the way. Been moving it around. It's in the new unit now. But today I'm going to be putting the rear shocks on that I've bought, which are second-hand OEM with, they've still got production labels on them, so they're obviously not that old. Picked them up for about 27 quid or something like that, so I thought we'll try them because new B4s is ridiculously expensive. But then the other issue I've been having is that it doesn't like running. So once it starts up, yeah, it's not good, right? Now once you've done that a few times, seems to be all right. I think it's fuel pressure related. Now this has been happening for as long as I can remember. The fuel is low at the moment, but it wasn't low 6 months ago when it was doing it, when it had, you know, sort of 1/8 of a tank in there. So I think it's the fuel pump. So I'm going to change the fuel pump. I'm going to do the rear shocks on it. Then I'm going to show you a little bit more around the car. And yeah, this car, I'm going to list it for sale. I will do the cam belt. If it sells, part of the agreement will be that I'll do the cam belt and the thermostat, so the new owner hasn't got to worry about that. But yeah, I'm running out of room. I've got other things on, and there's all the good intentions that I had for this car. Yeah, anyway, right. I have got some fuel to put in, but I think if it's got enough fuel for me to just turn it around and get it on the ramp how I want it, I'm going to do that before I change the fuel pump, because otherwise there's just more fuel in there in the way. Okay, so to get to the fuel pump, luckily because it's a coupe, we simply just have to rip the back seats up like that. Whip this panel off. So in here we've got an electrical connector up there that powers it all. And then this is filthy, but you've got blue and black. Blue is at the front, black is at the back. And it's just those type of connectors where you just press the clip in a little bit and then wiggle it off. So press that bit there and wiggle it off. Do the same on this one. Took those out the way. Now to get this ring off here, it's got these notches that go all the way around, so you can get a special tool that sits on there and can just be used to crack it off like that, and you can use it with a ratchet if you need to, or get a flat blade screwdriver, you put it against one of the notches there and you hit it gently and that'll rotate it as well. So basically we've got to undo that whole thing. Boom. And then the whole pump can lift out, but it is connected to the secondary on that side. Now in here, it is hard for you to see. This at the back, here we've got an electrical connector, so we're going to want to unplug that. And then you've got a feel for this bit anyway, but where the pipe connects over, it also has this like weird hook on part that goes around the back of the level sender. Basically looks like that. So we've got to get that bit off as well. I can show you where that hooks onto in a second. And then we've also got to unclip the hose that goes over to the other side. Again, it's just one of those normal fuel hose clips. There, push that in, disconnect. And then this whole thing, this hose here is really long, so this loops around itself and gets in the way. So we want to pull that all past, like so. And then the pump unit is just going to lift out There we go. Right, it's just going to lift out like that. So here's my new complete unit that I took off the old car. Now, very important thing to note, if you're just going to change the entire unit and be lazy like I am, you have to make sure that they're the same on the level sender. Now you'll see on both of these, there's those squares, which basically then have a little square on top of them. So they're pointing this way. And that means the resistance is going this way. And some of them, they point the opposite way. So what that can mean is that, I don't know exactly which way around it is, but it could be low resistance there and high resistance there, or high resistance there and low resistance there. So if you put the wrong one of these in, your fuel gauge doesn't know what's going on. And there was a crossover, it was about 2001-ish, couldn't say the exact dates off the top of my head, but essentially it went from doing it one way to doing it the other way. Some people have been getting issues over the years where their fuel gauge just reads like half full all the time. And that's because, remember I said there was another sender the opposite side of the saddle tank? Well, if that's pointing one way, and this one's pointing that way, then one's getting high resistance, one's getting low resistance, so they're just going to cancel each other out and get a midpoint. So no matter what's going on in the tank, it's always going to be weird readings. So it's just important to check that your resistors are the same. And if they're not, and you need to change the level sender over, it's simply just undo the electrical connectors there, they just pull off, and you've got 4 screws and swap it over. Dead easy. In fact, you don't have to move that entire bit over, it's just a little bit more fiddly. This does sort of slide and clip in to the plastic assembly. Anyway, if you're changing the fuel pump itself, if you're putting in like a Cyvex one or something like that, an uprated fuel pump, you take this bit off just to get it out of the way. The lid pops off, there's a little flat blade under each one of those tabs, gently pry it off. All you've got to make sure is you fit new hoses with new clamps. Otherwise, you're going to have an issue where it doesn't seal properly, and if you leave the car parked over the weekend, it's got low pressure. So instead of holding the pressure that it left when you left the car, it's all drained back into the tank, and you've got to prime it a few times to get decent fuel pressure, which is kind of the issue that I'm currently suffering with. So yeah, let's get this fitted and see how well it starts. Let's see how it's running now. Well, that's noticeably better straight away. That's just perfect. So, put a bit of fresh fuel in it because the tank level was very low, and then I'm just going to drive it around the yard and see how it feels. Definitely would have made more sense for me to just tip this into the big hole that I had in the fuel tank when I had the pump out, wouldn't it? Well, that red oil can is not good news. We need to switch this off. I think this car's been sat for too long. That's not good. That's really not good. My diagnostic nostrils tell me that something's majorly wrong with that car. Now, it didn't boost very nicely. All I did was a loop around that unit there, which isn't very big. A couple of loops. First gear pulls, and it was struggling to boost the first couple of times, and then it kicked in a little bit of boost, and then it's given me that red light. So it's not good. It doesn't smell good. Unfortunately, this car obviously was given to me. The premise is that we do jobs to it, and then I'll sell it when it's done, and we'll give the profit to charity. That's the whole idea. And I don't want this to affect that, so I will still be giving money to the charity. More on that shortly. But the money that it would require to get this to a sellable condition, because I can't sell a car that's no good. And the bodywork, I was going to let go. I was going to be like, look, if you want to buy it, it's a little bit rough bodywork wise, but mechanically it's going to be sound. If I can't sell it mechanically sound, I can't sell it. What I can do, break it for parts, try and recoup the money that I've got into the car, because obviously, yes, I've had to recover it, I've done stuff to it, I've spent time on it, all that stuff. I've put parts on it. Yeah, so I'm going to recoup some money back, and I'm going to give some money to charity. Now, the charity is Kicks Count, and they do. And the whole idea behind the charity is that it's helping mums understand early signs that, you know, trust in their body and understanding early signs that the baby might not be moving right and things like that. Now, obviously, with me having a very young baby, this charity means a lot to me as well. So it means a lot to the person that gave me the car, and it means a lot to me. And it probably means a lot to loads of you. So I'm going to leave the link for the charity down below. Check them out. They're doing good work. They're helping give women the advice that they need before there might be a major problem, help them spot things, and also helping them if there is something unfortunate. You know, miscarriages happen, we don't like it, but if it does happen, this charity can also help out. So I will be donating £250 to Kicks Count, and then we're going to say goodbye to this project. But that's not goodbye to projects in total, because there is another project that I'm going to be doing. I've been given another car, I've driven it home, I know the car drives nicely, it's on 220,000 miles, so that's going to be the next project car. Okay, so unfortunately, bye-bye to this one. Like I say, I'll be donating that money to charity. Yeah, and if you want to do the same, please click the link down below, because it was going to be one of you guys, hopefully, that would be buying it, that would have been contributing to the charity. So, you know, please play along if you can, even if it's just £5, every little makes the difference. Anyway, until next time, I'll see you later. Cheers, guys.